Welcome to Spokane Talks, where you'll find the latest in community news, views, and conversation. Spokane Talks is brought to you by Rada Paint and River Ridge Hardware. Now, join your host to hear what Spokane's talking about.
Well, on this episode, we're going to hear how the Washington State Board of Education is implementing the student voice and shifting their focus to more than just academia. And concerts and yoga through the Spokane County Library. See how the library is bringing the library to you in new and exciting ways this summer. And just what does it take to get a hit musical to the Broadway stage? Laura Little explains. And of course, we couldn't forget Cindy Hval's hilarious Front Porch Segment. All of that and more when we come back on Spokane Talks.
Here at River Ridge Hardware Garden Center, where we have all the plants and flowers that will spruce up your yard, from the lilacs for Spokane's Lilac City to awesome hanging baskets and pots that you can actually put the hanging baskets in. Here at River Ridge Hardware, we want to help you set up your landscape needs. Neighbors helping neighbors at River Ridge Hardware.
And welcome to Education 101. I'm your host, Erik Wolfrum, and today we're going to be talking about the State Board of Education. And with me, I've got a board member, MJ Bolt. Welcome to the show, MJ.
Thanks for having me, Erik.
Excellent. So the State Board of Education, can you tell us a little bit about the State Board? How's it made up, and how'd you get on it? And tell us a little bit about the board.
Sure. So our board it's a 16-member board that's over some policy of education in our state. It's made up of school board elected positions, governor-appointed positions. We have two students on there as well, and the superintendent of public instruction.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great.
And how I got on there, I was elected by Eastern Washington school board members a few years ago.
And you represent Eastern Washington, you and another person?
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Ryan Brault from Tri-Cities also.
Excellent. You guys have you said there's student voice, students elected. Tell us about our Eastern Washington student.
Yeah, Autumn Wild was selected this spring to represent Eastern Washington. We have one from both sides of the state. So Autumn is our Eastern Washington. Joe Hoffman is our Western Washington representative. They served 2 years. And so Autumn just started in July. And she's from Spokane Valley as well, like me. And she's from Central Valley High School. She's been an awesome, very passionate, very poised. She's so much fun to work with, and really focused on student mental health, with everything that's kind of gone on, especially in our town, and, been affected by some of the unfortunate events that have happened in our schools. So she really brings an amazing voice around that topic.
Absolutely. And I think it's great to be able to have that student voice along the way to say, here's really what's going on, in the trenches. What are some of the things that, with the mental health side, what are some of the things that she's proposing, I guess?
Well, one of the things that she's been concerned about is the stress that, all the mandated state tests, the high stakes testing. So right now in our state, you have to pass the state assessment system to graduate. And she's really kind of helped shed light on exactly how that affects kids, and it is, a requirement to take the test. It's a federal requirement, but our state is one of a few states that requires it for graduation.
Right.
So that's one of the ways that she's been exposing
That's good. And we've seen that even at home. I mean, with my 9th grader and my 4th grader, that's been a big piece. So MJ, let's take a quick break and hear from our sponsors, and then let's come back and we'll talk a little bit more about some of the other things that the State Board is doing. So we'll be right back on Education 101.
See you tomorrow night, and thanks again for taking care of the painting.
I got this.
Bye.
Weekends are made for painting. Let the experts at Rada Paint take care of you.
Hi. This looks amazing.
Rada Paint, over 80 years of quality, tradition, and trust. Find it in every can.
And welcome back to Education 101, talking with MJ Bolt from the State Board of Education. Before we left, we were talking a little bit about the student voice on there, on the state board, and bringing in some of the policy and some of the changes around the mental health and making sure that kids emotionally feel safe within their schools, which is a great thing. But I know the state board is more than just that piece as well, although an important piece. So what are some of the other pieces you guys have going on and some of the big pieces you're talking about?
Yeah. So one of our, charges is leadership and advocacy and oversight of our whole system. And one of the things that we're seeing, we've been focused on those achievement gaps and the disparities that exist in our system. And how do we really get at that? And one of the things that we're seeing is we can't just keep focusing only on academia. We have got to start addressing the whole child needs, social emotional learning, the human capacity, human pieces of doing education. And so we've definitely, I think we just came out with our new strategic plan. I think you'll see a significant shift in what we're going after in those pieces. And, how we design systems, the research says all learning is relational. Well, if that's the piece, then how do we value those relationships? How do we ensure that every student has, at least one, if not multiple, positive relationships with teachers or staff in their school? Right.
And that's so important. I think about my own education, our education as a teacher as well. The kids that, I guess it's that piece of those adults that are mentors to us. Those are the ones that really make a difference in our world. And so I think that's such an important shift for the state board to kind of move towards. And I think it's a good piece to be able to put out there and say this is the direction that the state board is moving, because that is such an important piece to the education world.
Yeah.
Is that I guess that shift of the whole student. So
and we still want high standards, and we still want rigorous content, and ensure that every student has those opportunities. But we also just wanted to make sure there's relevancy in what they're doing.
Right. So MJ, thanks for joining us on Education 101. We'll catch you next time.
And next, see how the Spokane County Library is coming to your neighborhood this summer. Stay with us.
Here at River Ridge Hardware Garden Center, where we have all the plants and flowers that will spruce up your yard, from the lilacs for Spokane's Lilac City to awesome hanging baskets and pots that you can actually put the hanging baskets in. Here at River Ridge Hardware, we want to help you set up your landscape needs. Neighbors helping neighbors at River Ridge Hardware.
Hello and welcome to Library Out Loud. I'm Jane Baker with the Spokane County Library District, and joining me today, Gwendoyln Haley, Public Services Manager at the district. Busy lady. We've been busy getting ready for summer learning, summer reading, summer programs, summer fun at the library. Let's dive right in. Our first big thing is Grace Lynn.
Yes, we're so excited. We are issuing a challenge to families here in Spokane to really make reading part of their summer activity. And Grace Lynn is a wonderful author who's written children's books, from picture books to early readers to chapter books that are great read-alouds for the whole family. And we're culminating a summer of reading together with her coming to visit on August 8th, on Thursday, August 8th, at Center Place in Spokane Valley. And it's going to be a wonderful celebration.
And it's going to be awesome to have her with her catalog of great books, something for everyone, like you say, and then be able to get to see her and hear her speak will be great, and no charge for that event.
No charge.
Yes, so check out Grace Lynn at the library this summer, and also Camp Read-A-Rama, something new.
Yes, so we have heard from people in our community that they're looking for some opportunities for some more extended, longer learning for their kiddos in the summer, and so we're trying out a half-day camp at North Spokane Library, and we're partnering with Accelerate Success. And so families can sign up, and there's a cap on the number of kids, but it'll be a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday So 1 week at a time, and we've got 3-4 different themes that we're going to rotate over the summer. Great opportunity. Lunch is included.
Great.
Because North Spokane is a free summer meal site.
That's great. So Camp Rita-Rama, and there'll be more about that coming on our website, scld.org.
That's right.
You'll be able to register starting around June 1st.
Yes.
So watch for more details on that on the website. And you mentioned summer meals.
Yeah.
Let's quickly say that again. North Spokane.
North Spokane Library, and we do summer meals Monday through Friday in the afternoon. And if you're 18 or under, you can come by and eat a meal and have lunch.
And that's absolutely free at North Spokane during the summer. And then we do a free afternoon snack at Deer Park year-round, including the summer as well. So trying to help with some of the food insecurity things.
That's right.
That helps.
Yeah.
And to, as corny as I can say, feed the stomach and feed the mind all at the same time, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's great. So many things happening. We're going to talk more about what's coming up. What else is coming up? Because we're going to be out in neighborhoods and we're going to be all over the place this summer. Do want to remind everybody that programs at the County Library District are of no charge.
That's right.
Open to everyone. So it's the place to come for the summer. Got more to tell you about what's happening this summer, but first we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back on Library Out Loud.
See you tomorrow night, and thanks again for taking care of the painting.
I got this.
Bye.
Weekends are made for painting. Let the experts at Rada Paint take care of you.
Hi. This looks amazing.
Rada Paint, over 80 years of quality, tradition, and trust. Find it in every can.
Welcome back to Library Out Loud. We're talking about summer reading and summer fun at the library this summer with Gwendoyln Hval. And we had talked about Gwendoyln, our Read-A-Rama reading camp, so many things for all ages. So let's quickly talk about, we're going to be out in communities this summer.
That's right. So one of the things we take advantage of in the summer is the opportunity to be out in communities throughout the county, somewhere near you, with concerts and story times in local parks, block parties, even yoga, outdoor yoga in some of our communities as well. So it's a great opportunity to come and see the library in a different location than you're used to seeing us. And we love to meet the neighbors and provide a wonderful activity for all ages.
Yes. And it's great to be out in the communities with the outdoor things in the parks. I know 3 parks in the valley that we're teaming up to bring programs during summer meals there. And we have story times in the parks and just lots of great things. And the block party, what a great idea, happening up at North Spokane.
Holmberg Park.
Yeah. The library, community, summer, it just all seems to go together. And we do have something in almost every community.
We
You
do.
know, we have 10 libraries.
10 libraries out in the community, and we've got activities almost every week in all of those libraries. Summer really is our busiest time, and we have things from stargazing programs with the local Spokane Astronomical Society, to concerts, to, as I said before, yoga. We're doing escape rooms for our families.
That's
and,
right.
Hands-on crafts and wonderful performers that we're bringing in from out of town to just dazzle the whole family.
That's it. It's a theater company coming in, and we also have the Zaniac and Radical Rick. We have the Jenks, Graceland. Holy cow.
Mobius is bringing a Science Center experience to the library
and the planetarium.
in your neighborhood.
Yeah. So for all ages, from preschool all the way up to adults, there is something for everyone in every community happening at the library this summer. All right. Check out scld.org and you can find out more information. Our summer programs, you'll be able to begin registering for those right around June 1st. And if you're in the library, make sure to pick up a copy of our Engage magazine. Tells you all the programs that are going on, and then you can catch your favorite. Gwendoyln, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
For Library Out Loud, I'm Jane Baker. We'll see you next time.
Award-winning Coeur d'Alene producer Laura Little tells us what it takes to get a show to Broadway when we come back.
Welcome to Business Talks. I'm Ryan McNeice, and we're here in the studio with Laura Little of Laura Little Theatrical Productions, a producer, director, and many other titles, but predominantly theater producer.
Yes.
Thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
Tell us, I think, what most folks find interesting is that you have the art world and then you have the business and financial aspect of what it takes to produce art. And specifically, we're talking here about theater off-Broadway and Broadway. What's it take to get a project business-wise and financially to the theater? Or to the stage?
Right, to the stage. Particularly to Broadway, it's just surrounding yourself with a really strong team, getting a great artistic team together, getting a great marketing team and publicists together, and raising capital.
All the pieces.
Yep. So come from away, $12 million to get it to Broadway. Most shows, that's an average cost for a Broadway show.
Average is around $12 million.
Mm-hmm.
And you as the producer, probably a big piece of the challenge, but also the passion of it, is to manage those costs in a way to get your show to the stage.
Right. Every step of the way, and shifting money around. We didn't need to use quite as much in costuming. Let's shift it over and take out a couple more ads, or let's just save that money completely
and put it into something else that might be visual or auditory.
Absolutely.
On the stage.
Right.
Well, as you'd indicated, with an average price of getting to Broadway or off Broadway at $12 million, the pieces you're referencing, marketing, legal, licensing, the theater. How do you even figure out whether a theater is available?
Well, you hire a general manager that does that for you. A general manager in New York has all the contacts with all the theater owners, which there are very few. I think there's only 5 theater owners for all the Broadway houses. So they know those people, they go to them, and they start doing their magic of seeing if there's a hole. But you just never know how long a show's going to be in a house, so you don't know what's going to open up.
Yeah, because if it's doing well...
If you're behind Hamilton,
keep
you're
on
out of
going.
luck for
Yeah,
a long time.
I did have an opportunity to see Hamilton, New York, with the
fantastic.
original cast, and it was off the charts.
Yeah.
And so once you find, well, first of all, I got to back up a little bit before you find the actual stage to put the show on. With All Is Calm, which is a very popular show that you've been able to produce, how do you even find the writer to acquire those rights?
Yeah, in that case, when his name was thrown out, I realized I already knew him through an organization that we both belonged to, and we attended the same conferences, so I just gave him a quick phone call and said, let's meet in New York and chat about how to make this happen, and the rest is history.
Went to the next stage.
Right?
And that next stage being working with union workers in New York. We'll come right back and talk about that after the break. Welcome back. We're talking about the business of theater. And right before we left for the break, we were talking about a couple elements. Obviously, finding the licensing rights and the writer to a show.
Right.
Then you need a stage to put the show on, is even available in New York. And then working with union workers, casting is next.
Right.
Tell me about that.
Casting. In this particular case, our writer had worked with many of these guys before, so he just invited them back, so they didn't need to audition them. But in general, you would hold auditions. There's legally ways you have to do it if for a union house. And you go about doing that and cast, and they go into the rehearsal process. And
how long is that generally?
Generally anywhere between 6 and 8 weeks, sometimes 3 months, depending on how intricate the choreography would need to be for the show.
That always, to me, is fascinating, because the ability to assimilate this information, these actors and actresses, it's phenomenal that they can do it.
The stuff that they can memorize, and then you have the swing actors who have to learn the parts of multiple people so they can go on if somebody's injured or sick. It's pretty impressive. And then, after the show is put up, then it's a whole nother series of producer decisions that need to happen as far as licensing. Is it going to go to licensing? Is it going to go on tour?
Well, or on PBS.
Or on PBS. So, or all of the above, which is, which is the trifecta.
Yeah. Well, in terms of that, off Broadway and Broadway as a producer, that's the pinnacle of, I think, one of your passions. Would you agree?
Absolutely. For me, being a lead producer off Broadway or on Broadway was the pinnacle for me.
And you've done it.
I've done it.
Despite, you have Tony Awards to your name as well, but you'd still say the pinnacle is off-Broadway, Broadway lead producer.
Yes,
And what's exciting to me, you live in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho.
I do. Aren't I lucky?
You are lucky, but I think, as you've said, the energy of Manhattan, but what we all know to be true here in our area.
It's just a beautiful, restful place to be, and you can always go back to Manhattan. And the beautiful thing is you can work from here, and I kid you not when I say that. I've had many meetings out on my kayak where I've just put my phone on speakerphone until I got my ear pods. Now I use those, and I'll paddle and have conversations. If I need to make a note, I just stop paddling, and I can produce from here or from there.
Well, Laura, impressive, and thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
See you tomorrow night, and thanks again for taking care of the painting.
I got this.
Bye.
Weekends are made for painting. Let the experts at Rada Paint take care of you.
Hi. This looks amazing.
Rada Paint, over 80 years of quality, tradition, and trust. Find it in every can.
Cindy Hval is a freelance columnist and correspondent for the Spokesman Review and author of War Bonds, Love Stories from the Greatest Generation. The view from her porch is usually sunny.
Some folks think squirrels are friendly, fluffy cat wannabes. Not me. Our family has a long, simmering feud with the rodents, and come spring, that war will heat up again. We've been plagued by squirrels that run along our fence line, taunting our cat, and tiptoe through our garden, leaving trails of holes in their wake. When a freshly picked cucumber tasted bitter last summer, my husband blamed the squirrels. "I bet they're peeing in my garden," he muttered. He's not the only Hval engaged in a squirrel squabble. Several years ago, the varmints invaded my brother-in-law's lake cabin. First, they ate all the family beach towels. Then they gnawed their way through the ceiling. My brother-in-law got some humane traps and launched the Hval Catch and Release Rodent Relocation Program. It turned out to be a full-time job, which wasn't ideal since they are part-time lake dwellers. Property damage is one thing, but personal damage is quite another. Last year, a Facebook friend related a terrifying tale of a squirrel gone bad at Manitou Park. She'd stopped to take a picture of the bushy-tailed fellow, and the rodent turned and attacked her, scratching and biting. Apparently, he didn't want his picture posted on social media. She went to minor emergency, where a doctor allayed her fears about rabies, cleaned up her wounds, and gave her an antibiotic. He told her he sees this kind of things a couple times a year. So feed those fluffy fakers at your own risk. You might think they're adorable, but as Carrie Bradshaw said on Sex and the City, a squirrel is just a rat with a cuter outfit. And that's the view from my front porch.
Hey, thanks for joining us this week on Spokane Talks. We'll see you next time for more news, views, and conversation. Bye-bye.
Spokane Talks is about you. Give us your feedback and comments at info@SpokaneTalksMedia.com. Spokane Talks is everywhere you are. Find us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and SpokaneTalksMedia.com. Spokane Talks is brought to you in part by Rada Paint and River Ridge Hardware. We'll be back next week with the latest news, views, and conversation. Please join us.